You ever wake up with an entire movie still playing in your head? People you've never met, places that don't exist, conversations that felt completely real, and you lie there for a second, trying to hold on to it, but it is already slipping away like water through your fingers. Meanwhile, someone else sleeps 8 hours and wakes up with absolutely nothing, just blank, like their brain hit delete before they even opened their eyes. So what is actually different about the people who remember their dreams versus the ones who don't? You are the person who wakes up and immediately tells someone about the weird dream you had, the one with the talking elevator and your high school teacher. Or you are the person who keeps a dream journal on your nightstand because you've always had these vivid, detailed, sometimes unsettling dreams. Or maybe you are the other kind, the one who genuinely doesn't understand what all the fuss is about because your nights are just darkness and then the alarm. And here is what nobody tells you. Scientists have actually figured out what separates these two groups, and it goes way deeper than just sleep quality. The difference isn't about what happens while you are asleep. It is about the kind of brain you carry around all day while you are awake. Picture this. You are lying in bed and your brain is supposedly resting. But it is not. Not really. Not if you are a dream recaller. Researchers at the Lyon Neuroscience Research Center in France put people in brain scanners and found something fascinating about high dream recallers. Their brains showed significantly more activity in the temporoparietal junction. That is the region that processes information and responds to outside stimuli. In plain English, their brains are more reactive, like a smoke detector with the sensitivity turned all the way up. And this means something specific. High dream recallers wake up more during the night, not full awakenings, just these tiny micro-arousals you don't even notice. Each one of those micro-awakenings is a tiny window where your brain encodes whatever dream was happening right before you stirred. So it is not that you dream more. Everybody dreams. Every single night, 4 to 6 times. You just remember more because your brain keeps accidentally hitting record. But here is what is fascinating. This brain reactivity doesn't shut off when the sun comes up. It changes how you experience absolutely everything. There is a psychologist named Ernest Hartman who spent decades studying this, and he came up with something called boundary theory. The idea is that some people have thick psychological boundaries and others have thin ones, and this single trait predicts an enormous amount about your inner life. Thick boundary people compartmentalize easily. Work stays at work. A sad movie is just a movie. Other people's moods don't bleed into theirs. Thin boundary people are different. Everything bleeds into everything else. A stranger's bad day becomes your bad day. A song can change your whole afternoon. And here is the connection. People with thin boundaries are overwhelmingly the ones who remember their dreams, with vivid detail, in full color sometimes years later. It is not a disorder. It is not a flaw. Psychologists describe it as a personality dimension, like introversion or openness, just a different way your brain organizes reality. But it comes with a cost. And that is something the dream recall research doesn't always mention up front. People who remember their dreams consistently tend to score higher on measures of anxiety. Not clinical panic attacks, more like a background hum that never fully goes quiet. Researchers call it trait anxiety. This baseline level of alertness that just stays elevated, watching, scanning, noticing things other people filter out. And it makes sense when you think about it. The same brain sensitivity that records your dreams also records everything else. Every sideways glance, every shift in someone's tone. And here is where it gets complicated. That same sensitivity is also what makes high dream recallers more creative. Study after study links vivid dreaming to higher scores on divergent thinking tests. The ability to generate multiple solutions to a single problem. Psychologists call it associative looseness. Your brain makes connections between things that don't obviously belong together. A face and a feeling, a color and a memory. But you probably just call it having a weird imagination that won't shut up, especially at 3 in the morning when you are supposed to be sleeping. So there is this paradox sitting right at the center of dream recall. The thing that makes you creative is the same thing that makes you anxious. And let's talk about sleep quality, because it is more complicated than anyone makes it sound. High dream recallers don't sleep badly exactly. Their sleep is just more porous, more interrupted, more like a series of short dives instead of one long submersion. And those interruptions matter Because every time your brain surfaces, even for a second, it is processing, it is sorting, it is filing emotions from the day into long-term storage. Neuroscientists call this memory consolidation. Your brain's overnight filing system, and dream recallers seem to have a noisier, more active version of it. It is not better or worse than quiet sleep. It is just different. Like the difference between a library and a workshop, both productive, but one is definitely louder. But here is the thing that really caught researchers off guard. Dream recall isn't just about nighttime. It predicts how you handle emotions during the day. A 2018 study in the journal Dreaming found that frequent dream recallers are significantly better at identifying emotions in other people's facial expressions. They read rooms faster. They pick up on tension before anyone says a word. They notice when someone's smile doesn't quite reach their eyes. Psychologists might use the term enhanced affective perception, but honestly, you probably just know it as that exhausting thing where you can't stop noticing how everyone around you is feeling. And there is one more layer to this that doesn't get talked about enough: the relationship between dream recall and your sense of self. Researchers at the University of Turku found that people who remember their dreams regularly score higher on something called self-reflectiveness, the tendency to examine your own thoughts and motivations. In plain English, dream recallers are the people who are always asking themselves why. Why did that comment bother me? Why do I keep having the same argument? Why can't I let things go? And your dreams become part of that conversation. They're not just random noise. For high recallers, dreams feel like messages, like your subconscious is trying to tell you something important. So yeah, let's put it all together, because the picture that emerges is something nobody prepared you for. If you remember your dreams, your brain is literally wired differently. More reactive, more sensitive, more porous to the world around you. You feel things more deeply. You notice things other people miss. You carry conversations and interactions home with you, like luggage you didn't ask for. You probably overthink. You probably have a rich inner life that exhausts you sometimes. You probably lie awake replaying moments that everyone else forgot 5 minutes later. And here is what is worth saying out loud. None of that is a problem. It is actually a specific kind of intelligence that psychology is only just starting to take seriously. The same sensitivity that wakes you at 3 a.m. with a dream about your childhood home is the sensitivity that makes you a better friend, a better listener, a better human. Psychologists are starting to use the term emotional granularity, the ability to distinguish between subtle emotional states that most people just lump together as feeling bad. And dream recallers have it in abundance. Where someone else just feels anxious, you feel the difference between lonely anxious and overwhelmed, anxious and anticipation anxious. It is not oversensitivity, it is high-resolution processing, and the world honestly needs more of it, not less. So the next time you wake up at 4 a.m. with your heart racing, because your brain just staged an entire disaster movie while you were supposed to be resting. Or the next time someone tells you it is just a dream, and you should stop thinking about it so much. Remember that your brain isn't broken. It is doing exactly what it was built to do, just more of it, and more loudly than most. You are not too sensitive. You are not overthinking. You are not making something out of nothing. You are someone whose brain refuses to skim the surface. And that is not a flaw. That is a gift that most people will never quite understand. And that is kind of the whole point. The people who remember their dreams are the people who can't help but pay attention to everything, even when it is inconvenient, even when it hurts. They're the ones who process the world at full volume, while everyone else has the filter on. And maybe that is not something that needs fixing. Maybe it is something that deserves a little more respect. If any of this felt like your brain talking back to you, please subscribe. And if you want to support these deep dives into the psychology that actually matters, hit that join button. I would genuinely appreciate your support. And tonight, if you dream, pay attention. Your brain might be trying to tell you something worth hearing.